Abbas Kadimi is an Iranian Baha'i who's lived and worked in Kilkenny since he came to Ireland in 1985. When the Islamic revolutionaries overthrew the Shah in 1979, it became dangerous to be a Baha'i in Iran. Baha'i believe in equality for men and women, and more than 200 were executed. Abbas knew he had to try to get out.
It's a religion of unity. That, in fact, everybody can say it. Well, let's say every religion say it. With the difference that Baha'i faith embraces all the religion, all the color, creed together.
Baha'i believe in one God, and in 170 years of the religion, they've never picked up a gun. There's no clergy in the faith. Abbas was born into a Muslim childhood, and when the revolution happened, he knew he was going to be persecuted.
The reason is because I was born in the family in Iran. It's very popular, this phrase, they call them Sayyid, means I am descendant from Muhammad. So that is definite. So I would be automatically considered Muslim when you see my ID, Persian ID. So if I would have been known as I'm Baha'i, but immediately would be considered as betrayed.
In October 1984, along with two colleagues, Abbas walked for a week through the desert to Pakistan. As a victim of religious persecution, he was classified by the UN as a refugee. He was selected by the Irish authorities to be resettled here, and in December 85, along with 25 others, he arrived in Dublin. The only thing he'd heard about Ireland was the name of one person.
Bobby Sands. And that's in Ireland that he was a great revolutionary and things like that. Freedom fighter, if you like. You see, this is something I love to say here. You know, a person who is not free in their country, in their prison, they always dream of freedom, you know, but nobody in the Europe or Western world dream of being free because they are free. And for us, it was always dreaming of freedom.
Abbas was sent to Kilkenny, and he loved it from the start. He managed to find work on a farm. He says he'll never go back, that he can't go back, that he would be shot. He misses his two sisters and his mother in Iran. He's three brothers in Germany. He's 30 years living now in Kilkenny.
I find Kilkenny home. I travel a lot. I mean, I was in Russia, Israel, Europe, Pakistan, and in Iran even. I was many places. I never felt same way I felt in Kilkenny.
Abbas now runs a health food store in Callan, where he employs several people part-time. He's also highly regarded and a qualified homeopath.
I always love to live in a small community because people get to know each other. Big community has so many things about it that, you know, it's not my, what you call my cup of tea. And the small community is, you know, you settle there, and after a while, people know your name and you know their name. And when gradually things become settled, and then my philosophy about the small community is that it's a protection, because if you do something, you would be known you have done wrong. And as a result of it, I see small community is a great protection because you can't hide.
Abbas's older daughter Emily is currently studying in New York. His younger daughter Ruth is studying in Dublin. His wife is Carmel Rose.
I met Abbas in Kilkenny in probably 87, 88, in the health food store that he owned in Kilkenny. And we became friends because I was doing alternative and he was doing complementary alternative. So that's how we actually got together and became friends, yeah. The biggest thing for me is I've always had a great belief in God. My mother gave me a great sense of spirituality, and I was brought up Catholic. And then, like everybody, I started to, well, like a lot of people, I started to investigate different things. And then when I found the faith, I loved the idea of investigation, personal investigation of truth. And also I loved the writings, that it made you very responsible for your faith, yourself, you know. And so really I started to study some of the writings and for many years. And then I decided, no, that's it. This is the pathway for me that I really love. It gives me great comfort. And I love that there's so many different mixtures of cultures that actually, you know, over 7 million people in the world and every culture and identity. And I love that.
So, what advice would he have for refugees now?
The killer of a community is that if you stay together, try to avoid it. It is uncomfortable, but it is fruitful later on because you're forced to integrate to the society, to understand people. That's the one angle of it. The other thing I would suggest very strongly for not only a refugee but any individual, really, people who feel misplaced, is that just think about yourself. You're a piece of jigsaw, and there's this big mass of things here in this country. Find your place.
And his slogan for life.
60 plus years ago, a mother gave a birth to a child. So that mother gave that child physical identity. About 30 years ago, a country gave citizenship to that boy, which is me. Now, to me, Ireland is my social mother because they gave me identity. They brought me from somewhere that I wanted to be a child, that Ireland would be proud of me, that the day when I've been buried, I wanted, if you like, the spirit of Ireland would say, he was a good kid, because in the last breath of my life, I wanted to do everything in Ireland to show I deserve that embracement, that, you see, the things Ireland gave me was home.